Welcome to Lennox Minute channel. If you're not a subscriber, do that now. Hit the like button for the video even start, peeps. On our day with. Alright, so today we are gonna look on social studies for the 2022 paper. Alright, so let's go. It says which of the following statement best describe a conjugal family? Is it offspring become adults and have left home? Is it one or both parents may be absent from the home? C. Family relationship is developed through marriage, or is it E? Family relationship is developed through bloodline, and that is the C. Family relationship is developed through marriage. Get married, peeps. Get married is the right thing to do. All right, let's move on to number 2. The process by which a child learns how to behave is known as is it cooperation, socialization, indoctrination, or personalization, and that would be socialization. Which of the following factors can help to improve marital relationships? Is it respect of view of spouse, opportunities for spouse to pursue goals? Is it abuse of rights and freedoms by wives? Cooperation between marriage and partners, and that will be B, opportunities for spouse to pursue goals. Let's move on to number 4. That one hit me. Item 4 is based on the following statement. John, Simon, and Larry are cousins who live in the same house. Which of the following terms best describe a relationship? Is it peers, sibling relatives, or contemporaries? And that would be relatives. So that would be C. Let's move on to number 5, and we're supposed to go up again. All right, so let's look at number 5. It says, some adolescents challenge the views that attitude of adults, such as situation characteristics of, is it peer pressure, sibling rivalry, or is it generation gap or parental pressure? And that would be C, generation gap. Let's move on to number 6. Let's see the options. Which of the following would most likely result from women working outside the home? 1, improved standard of living. 2, higher self-esteem for women. 3, decline in family values. Now, this one is a bit tricky. Family values, I don't think that family values will go or decline in family values. Many women are working today, and that doesn't stop them from doing their family duties. It's just more difficult. So I'm going to go with A, 1, and 2. All right, let's move on to number 7. Which of the following is likely to be the least important to a man and a woman who are planning to start a family? Is it A, health, B, social status, C, financial status, or D, stable relationship? In nowadays, I can guarantee you financial status is very important, especially to the women. All right, but it's actually B, social status. Number 8, which of the following best explain promotion of family planning in the Caribbean? A, to teach parents to supervise the activities of their children. B, to ensure a balance in the numbers between male and female. C, to allow persons to have a sexual relationship with chosen partners. D, to give parents control over the number and spacing of their children. And number 8 would be D. All right, let's move on to the next page, which is number 9. Which of the following would undermine the authority of parents in the home? Is it A, setting and enforcing clear rules for conduct? B, inconsistency in regarding and punishing children? C, giving cash allowances to adolescent family members? Or is it D, allowing children to participate in family decision making? Undermine, and that would be B, inconsistency in rewarding and punishing children. Punish them, so them are going to learn. Number 10, which of the following is the least likely effect of drug abuse on family life by one or both parents? A, physical abuse of children. B, increased rivalry among siblings. C, emotional tension among family members. Or D, insufficient money for children's education. And that would be B, increased rivalry among siblings. They do that themselves. Rivalry not to be developed. Number 11, A foster parent is one who A. operates a nursery, B. adopts a child legally, C. works in a children's home, D. takes care of a child for the state. And that would be D. So let's move on to number 12. So good so far. If you're just joining, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, do so now. Alright, so you can get when I upload new videos. Number 12, which of the following is not a way by which traditional customs are kept alive in the Caribbean? Is it A. archives compiling local oral history, B. villages organizing folk festivals annually, C. families practicing ancestral dances regularly, or is it D. government supporting senior citizens' homes? And that would be D. Government not the nothing for nobody. I don't want to take tax here. Their only job. All right, let's move on to 13. Identify the order in which ancestors of the Caribbean people arrived in the region. First, it was the Amerindians, then the Europeans. Oh, let me see this good, guys. What are they? The Amerindians, Europeans, Africans, and then the East Indians. Yeah, so that would be C. Courtship prior to marriage in the Caribbean is a custom handed down by the ancestors from, is it India, China, Africa, or Europe? And that is A, India. Let's move on to 15. Which of the following terms describe a group of Boy Scouts? Formal and voluntary, formal and involuntary, informal and voluntary, or is it informal and involuntary? And that would be A, formal and voluntary. All right, let's move on to 16. Which of the following best characterize a primary group? A, a sense of belonging, B, common name of or title, C, face-to-face interaction, D, shared beliefs and norms. And that is C, face-to-face. We're going to love so much face-to-face interaction. Let's move on to 17. A democratic control and open membership are feature of A, is it street gang, B, trade union, C, private company, or D, cooperative society. And number 17 would be D, cooperative society. We need more of that, all right? Let's move on to 18. 18 refers to the following table, which give marriage and divorce data for country X, and they give us the data. And they say, which of the following statement is true? All right, so let us see what they are saying. The number of marriages and divorces increased over the period 96 to 99. All right, so let's check the marriages. First, it was 350, it increased to 1,000, increased to that, increased to that. All right, that looked legit, but let's check the divorce. 50, 200, yeah, that increased. All right, A, we're not going further, guys. A is the answer, it increases. And this one says 19 and 20 refers to the following dialogue. CETA. This is what Sita is saying. When Marvin was group leader, he was always ordering us about. Paul said, me, I prefer group leader who allow members to do as they please. As they please, right? So A says, 19 says, the leadership style of Marvin, as described in the dialogue above, is it autocratic, charismatic, democratic, or is it laissez-faire? And that would be autocratic, right? Paul's statement indicates that he prefers a leadership style is it autocratic, charismatic, democratic, and that would be laissez-faire. All right, so we are 1/3 there, 33%. Stay to the end, guys. Let's go. We have an exam to pass. Let's go. Number 21. Which of the following is not a rule of trade unions? All right, is it A, collective bargaining of workers' welfare, B, reporting negligent workers to management? And I think that would be B. I'm not going further. And I got them further and for them job that, right? I'm going to defend on them. So make sure someone start work, join the union, no sell out union. No sell out. No sell out. All right, let's move on to 22. The right to vote in election is known as the ballot, the franchise, the manifesto, or the constituency. And that would be the franchise. So B. Only time them want to vote, only time them know when election time, you know, when to vote, people wise up. 23. Caribbean countries where the Queen of England is the head of state may be described as the republics, the democracies, or the monarchies, or the dictatorships. And I don't want to pre-rush. All right, so 23 would be monarchies. A big black man or king. All right, let's move on to 24. In the English-speaking Caribbean, the first court of hearing of a criminal offense is usually the coroner's court, the court of assizes, court of appeal, or the magistrate court. And that would be the magistrate court. Every gunman bust them case, every gunman bust case. And let me ask you. In a constituent monarchy, the political leader of the victorious party becomes, and that would be the prime minister. Now violate Andrew Holness. Once a guy your bed, your bed. All right, so let's move on to 26. The role of the opposition in parliament can best describe as: is it A, inciting civil disobedience and mass protest; B, rejecting policies which ruling party proposes; C, voting in favor of a bill debated in parliament; D, analyzing government policies and representing alternatives. And that would be D. They represent an alternative to what the government. Sometimes they disagree too much though. For something good, them still disagree. I'm not rate that about opposition. I'm not at this opposition, not at any opposition. Even for something productive, them oppose it. All right, which of the following best describe the function of a government which follows the Westminster model? Is it A, it rules the nation entirely by decree; B, it makes laws but cannot interpret or enforce them; it makes laws, interpret them, and enforces them. And 27 would be C. We're not gonna further. All right, let's move on to 28. Which of the following is not included in the written constitution of the country? A, method of taxation; B, responsibilities of citizens; C, powers and responsibilities of parliament; or is it D, powers and functional officers of the state? And that would be 8, methods of taxation. And that is the government's favorite word, tax. Tax the poor, them tax. Only the rich, them don't tax. All right, number 29, document which outlines the framework in which laws are made and which describe the relationship between people and the state is it A, a budget; B, manifesto; C, constitution; D, referendum. And 29 would be C, constitution. We're halfway there, guys. Let's go. Halfway there. We're at number 30. So far, so good. Stay to the end. All right. Number 30 now. An individual may be deprived of his fundamentals constitutionally if there's a natural disaster. No. The head of state has resigned. No. See, the cabinet has been reshuffled. No. A state of emergency has been declared. All right. So if it's a state of emergency, all rights can be taken away from you as a state of emergency. All right. Let's move on to 31. All right, so it says 31 for the table below, which will the population figures of 4 countries. Blah, 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 blah. All right, and it's give you the figures for each of the countries. So let's analyze them and see. All right, so analyze them very carefully, and then the one with the highest of the divide. So you're going to divide the population by the area, and the one with the highest, that would be right. So let us freestyle it. Population density is measured per unit area, right? So that would be this one. It look like B to me. All right, so that would be B. All right, which country has the lowest population density? All right, so let's go back up. All right, so this will be D, 150. That will give us the lowest number. So that is it. All right, so just remember the highest one is the highest density and the lowest is the lowest. Let's move on to 33. The term labor force is best defined as per all persons who are, is it A, under the age of the employed, C, qualified to work and are currently seeking employment, or employed and unemployed who are qualified, willing, and able to work. So that would be D. Once you're willing to walk. All right, 34. For which of the following purposes is the information collected in a census normally used? This is going to be tricky. 1, to estimate the number of government supporters in the country. I would definitely say no to that one. To predict the needs of the society and plan how to satisfy them. Yep. Determine the rate of population growth. So I'm just going to go with 2 and 3 only. And that would be C. Maybe monarchy. All right, so let's move on to 35. Most of the Caribbean countries remain producers of primary products mainly because they A, are agriculture based, B, possess few mineral resources, C, lack the means to process their resources, or is it D, have labor force that are largely unskilled. And that would be C, lack of means to process their own resources. And this is so sad. Government them have them killing them back and they can't do nothing for themselves or them people. Everybody fear have money now. All right, let's move on to 36. Which of the following are problems usually associated with rapid urban growth in developing countries? Is it 1, unemployment, 2, shortage of housing, 3, shortage of motor vehicles? How about that? And that would be 1 and 2, unemployment and shortage of housing. What about motor vehicle liability? All right, let's move on to 37. The concept of push and pull factors are associated with, is it A, migration of people, B, unemployment patterns, C, development of resources, or is it D, pollution of the environment? And 37 is migration of people. Everybody migrates. We're going to get to now look for. All right, let's move on to 38. Which of the following would discourage immigration? And notice it's a E. That's to exit, right? Once you see the E, that means to exit. A, high standard of living in the destination country. B, relaxed immigration laws in the destination country. C, availability of well-paid jobs in the country of origin. Or is it D, lack of economic opportunities in the country of origin? And that would be C. If you have well-paid jobs, you're not going away. All right. So if jobs are available in your country, you won't exit your country. All right. We'll make this one a little bit smaller so persons can see the diagram. And this one is going to be tricky. All right. So item 39 refers to the following illustration. And him say, boom, no work, low wages, I'll work and live better in town. And he's heading to the city, which is 30 kilometers away. So I'm there far from the city. And him enter. All right, so 39 now, it says, which of the following may result if many people do what the young man in the picture is doing? All right, so them are left from country and I got to, as it says city, right? So that means a country not come from. I did not. All right, so I comment it now. It's a 1, growth of shanty towns and squatter settlements. Not most, you know. We don't know if him skill or what, but I comment the rest. Brain drain experienced by many developing countries. 3, inadequate housing, educational, and facilities in the urban areas. Now, I am going to go with 1 and 3. I don't know if him skill. So the brain drain, that not going to become a factor because I don't know what if he's skill or what, right? So we'll go with C. You can leave that in the comment section. All right, guys, we're 2/3 now. We're at number 40. Let's go. Let's finish this. Our exam for pass 40. Which of the following is least likely to lead the development of the human resources of a country? If you're just joining, hit the like button, subscribe if you have not done so for more videos. All right, and that is improve health services, B, increasing the cost of living, C, increase in the minimum wages, D, improve educational opportunities. And that is, it's the least likely to lead development of human resources of a country, and it's the increase in cost of living. So 40 would be B. All right, let's move on to 41. Which of the following is most likely to result from rising levels of unemployment in a country? Is it high birth rate, B, increased immigration, increased in workers' salary or increase in sports activities. And that would be B, increase in the number of persons exiting the country. So 41 is B. Let's move on to 42. 42. One. All right, which of the following actions may be taken by an employer against workers during an industrial dispute? A, is it strike? No, workers do that. B, seek out? No, the workers do that too. Or is it C, lockout? I mean, it's lockout, Or D, work to rule. So 42 is C, work, lockout. Lock them out if anyone come and work. I don't see the sense. All right, which is the most appropriate order of the task of a job seeker? Which is the most appropriate order of the task of a job seeker? All right, Mickey, which one I do first? Write application for the desired job? No. Access the suitability for available jobs given qualification and interest? That can be the first. Collect information about available job vacancies. All right, so this is the order, guys. First, you collect the information about the available job vacancies. You have to know who are employed, right? And two, assess the suitability of available and jobs given qualification and interest. So if you're not qualified, you're not going to probably right to that. But in Jamaica, we see them do that. Man, have the qualification. Him get the work, over everybody will qualify. All right, so that would be C. Sometimes a personality comes down to you, man. All right, let's move on to 44. Some persons are qualified, but they don't have it, so we could not say attitude. So people don't want them at them place. Fix your attitude, guys. Like this like the video. Fix, fish, bauxite, and sand are best classified as: is it A, minerals, B, products, C, elements, or D, resources? And that would be resources, right? Let's move on to 45. Which of the following methods of fishing is most damaging to the ecosystem? Is it setting up fish pots? The use of dynamite, that is very dangerous, but to what extent? Trawling the sea and the oceans, or the dropping of sea and nets? This one is tricky, guys. What about dynamite? It can blow up ocean or something, but we don't know the extent in which they do it. So this one is a bit tricky. Tell me what you guys think about this one. All right, guys. I'm gonna go with trawling. You know why? Trawling is when you pull a large cone-shaped net through the sea, right? Deep sea. So that net is gonna catch a lot of small fishes and stuff. So I'll go with the dynamite. I will go with trawling because the dynamite probably is a specific area you're gonna blow up and so. But with the trawling, it's really dangerous and decide to continue. So I'm gonna go with that one. All right. 46, which of the following would not be used in conserving the environment in the Caribbean? Is it A, sand mining, B, reforestation, C, marine reservation, or D, land reclamation? And 46 would be sand mining. So that is that. All right, let's move on to 47. Which of the following has the potential to cause the most serious threat of pollution and to the beaches of the Caribbean? Is it hurricane and high tides, an oil spill from a tanker, or is it C, improper garbage disposal, or D, unsuitable fishing practices? And we don't really have no oil business here, so it will be improper garbage. All right, guys. Which of the following would play an important part in a government effort to increase consumption of locally produced food? And is it increase the price of imported food? Yeah, definitely that see if there's anyone to beat that. Increasing taxes on agriculture, no. Imposing duties on imported farm foods, no. You need the tool then. Kind of furnish that. Cutting down forestries, no. So it's definitely A. All right. Increase the price of imported food, and these are some inferior food sometimes. All right, let's move on to 49. And this is a graph, so this come like math. So you're gonna get excited, please. All right, so as you give the birth rate according to sex in country Z, and it's a birth rate and the year. All right, and here we have the female. It's a dotted line, so let me just leave it because It's very make any errors and nicely, and then you just proceed. All right. That's like in for exam. The graph above show that countries see the. All right. Let us see. Female birth rate increased steadily between 1960 and 1990. Let us see 90 steadily. This one is that's not it, guys. It decreased, then it increased, and no, so that's not it. All right, male birth rate has always been lower than female birth rate, and that is not true. At 1980, the male is higher than the female, so that is wrong. So we on to two options now. It's either C or D. Let's see what C says. Female birth rate reached the highest level around the mid 1970s. All right, so that will be about 1975, and that is correct. The highest peak, which is at 55, is it 1975. We're not going to go to D because 49 is correct. Oh my God, I'm so awesome. All right, let's move on to 50. And the 50 table again. What zone I run from? All right. Item 50 refers to the table below population figures for country X in 2012. And they give the number of births is 30,000, number of deaths 15,000, number of immigrants 14, number of that. All right. The natural increase in population of country X in 2012 was, so that would be number of births, subtract, so that is 15, so 50 would be A, right? So that's 51. We're almost there, guys, we're almost there. Let's go, stay to the end, stay to the end. 51 refers to the following diagram, which represents population profile for three countries: country X, country Y, and country Z. And here's the male over this side and the female over that side. Percentage of population X. All right, so let's see what the question says now. Analyzing graph is very important, guys. Which of the following countries would have the provision of many primary schools places will be a priority? All right, so we're going to look for the one with the children or the young age is at the highest. All right, so primary school are normally between ages 0 to 10. All right, so the one with the highest bar, bigger bar, which will be these, right? So that would be country X, country X, country X, and that will be country X only. Because look at these young kids, they don't have many young kids, so I would say country X only. So that would be B only. Let me know about what you guys think about that. All right, let's move on to 52. Hit the like button if you're just joining, guys, and watch back the video from scratch. 52, which curriculum group is made up of prime ministers, executive, presidents, or chief ministers? Is it the secretariat, the command market council, standing committee minister, or is it the head of government conference? And that would be the head of government conference. Let's move on to 53. Which of the following institution of curriculum is responsible for the economic activities in the community? Is it A, Common Market Council, B, Standing Committee of Ministers, C, Heads of Government Conference, or is it D, Conference Agriculture Ministers? And that would be A, Common Market Council. Let's move on to, for the last 5, I'm not going to mark them. You guys are going to watch the video to the end. All right, 54, in CARICOM, country impose restrictions on CARICOM products. Which of the following provision of the treaty is being violated? Is it the rule of origin, liberalization of trade, special regime of the LCDs, or the common external tariff? And that would be B, liberalization of trade. So let's move on to 55. You have made it to the end, and you're going to go to the end. All right, let's go, guys. Let's go. All right, 55. Which of the following may hinder economic integration in CARICOM countries? Is it A, removal of duties and tariffs, B, restrictions of intra-regional trade? I like B, you know, I think B will be the answer. But let's see if there's anyone that beat B. The establishment of a common currency, B, more funding from the Caribbean Development Bank. Which are the following may hinder. Notice it's a hinder, guys. Hinder. Alright. You don't want a restriction. That's the whole purpose of CARICOM. And it's a global world now. 56. Which of the following reasons are the Caribbean government most likely to try to attract private investors? Is it A, to promote economic development in the region, B, to increase travel among people of the region, C, to increase the market and revenue of the large territories, D, to ensure that goods from outside of the region become cheaper? And that would be A, to promote economic development in the region. We need private investors, but we need to start investing in our own countries also. That is not being said enough. All right, 57, which of the following is a function of the Caribbean Development Bank? As I say, I'm not going to mark this. I'm just going to talk it. Regulation, foreign exchange rates in the Caribbean countries. B, providing loans to the individuals in the Caribbean for constructing homes. C, serving as a central bank for all commercial banks in the Caribbean region. Or is it D, organizing and supervising loans for development works to member states? And 57 is D. 57 is D. 57 is D. I'm not going to mark that one. Let's move on to 58. Individual countries in the region are too small to make their presence felt on the world stage. Implied in this statement is the need for the individual countries to A, consider integration, B, turn to colonialism, B, excuse republicanism, D, remanded in democratic rights. And 58 is A, consider integration. Let's move on to 59. We have made it to the end. You are in good company. Item 59 refers to the following statement. CARICOM countries need to pool their skilled human resources. 59 says the most likely result of each action should be A, the speeding up of the rate of brain drain, B, a reduction in workers' wages and salaries, C, a reduction in the need for foreign experts, or is it D, an increase in spending of foreign exchange? And that would be C, a reduction in the need for foreign experts. And number 60 is the last one. You have made it to the end. Thank you guys so much for being a part of Mr. Linux Phoenix channel. You are appreciated here. Please ensure that you are subscribed. Hit the like button also. So number 60 says, economic integration as part of the CARICOM main objective aim primarily as A, rationalization CARICOM existing tariff, B, limiting outside access to CARICOM products, or is it C, accelerating development in the Caribbean countries, or is it D, reducing the debt owned by CARICOM member states? And that would be C, accelerating development in the Caribbean, in the CARICOM countries. Thank you guys so much for making it to the end. I will see you guys in another video. This is Mr. Bennett. I'm out, no doubt. Guys, remember to share the video and all of that. All right, I'm out, no doubt. See you guys. More videos are coming on, guys. More videos. Watch them all.